and regulations. I motion and move this court to dismiss this case. I am sui juris in proper persona and propria persona.
Mr. Dubois.
All right, folks. Today we've got a classic sovereign citizen showdown with Judge Webster. And let me tell you, the judge isn't having any of it. This guy is in court for the usual nonsense. No driver's license, no insurance, and no registration. You already know it's about to go off the rails. His arguments? Completely out there. His demeanor? Absolutely wild. It's honestly baffling that people think they can pull this off in a courtroom. You got to see this to believe it. What do you think? Is he genuinely out of his mind, or just another sovereign citizen trying and failing to game the system? Drop your thoughts in the comments.
Versus Anthony Edward Dubus, Jared Regier, State. Is Mr. Dubus present? Anthony Dubus?
I am Anthony Edward Dubus. Dubus is the English pronunciation. Dubus is the original French. And I am appearing specially in propria persona, not pro se, as sui juris.
Okay, first of all, I can't see you, so you're not here.
Parents satisfied?
Thank you, sir. Now,
absolutely.
As far as I need to go, well, I need you back here in person.
Okay, well, it's propria persona, not in person. I'm not the legal entity that you're claiming me to be.
All right, sir, if I can't get you on camera, you're not here.
I'm doing so right now. I'm just removing it as it's taped. It takes a while.
Now, the second order of business, let's get your name straight. I know a family with the same exact spelling in America, and they do pronounce it Dubus, but you said you pronounce it
Dubus, as the original Dubus, as the original French. Yep.
Very well, Dubus.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, Mr. Dubus appears in person and pro se.
Correction, propria persona.
Well, in this court, it's in person. And
correction, in all courts, it may be either pro se, either appear in person, or propria persona.
Well, in my years of law school and nearly 40 years of practice, both as an attorney and a judge, it's been in person, and that's what I'm going with, sir. I believe that is just fine. So in any event, we will proceed with your charges. In count one, sir, you're charged with operating a motor vehicle on a highway of this state without having a valid driver's license pursuant to KSA 8-235A. In count two, it is alleged that on or about the 17th day of August, 2023, in Butler County, Kansas, you did then and there unlawfully operate or attempt to operate a motor vehicle, to wit, a 2003 Honda Accord, upon a highway of the state, to wit, 1700 block of East Foxdale Street, Andover, Butler County, Kansas, while the vehicle was not registered in violation of KSA 8-142. In count three, it is alleged that on or about the 17th day of August, 2023, in Butler County, Kansas, Anthony Edward Dubus,
Thank you, Mara.
unlawfully and intentionally drive a motor vehicle upon a public highway or property open to use by the public and failed to provide proof of insurance upon demand by a law enforcement officer. Now, sir, if you had insurance when you were stopped but just didn't have it with you or couldn't find it quickly, just provide proof to the county attorney and they'll most likely dismiss that charge. But if you really didn't have insurance, you're looking at a Class B non-person misdemeanor. The law does require a minimum fine if you're convicted of $300 up to $1,000, and it does have a possible jail sentence up to 6 months.
This is honestly hilarious. Just looking at the charges. No license, no insurance, no registration. You already know this guy is a sovereign citizen. It's like they wake up every day and decide to make life more difficult for themselves. I just don't get it. These aren't some deep state conspiracies. They're basic laws that keep the roads safe. You can't drive without a license, and you have to register your car. It's literally common sense. Even the Supreme Court has ruled that states have the right to enforce these laws, but somehow, sovereign citizens think they've uncovered some hidden loophole the rest of us are too brainwashed to see. Honestly, I feel like part of the problem is the education system. Schools spend years drilling useless info into our heads, but do they ever teach basic laws or adult responsibilities? I don't remember a single class on our legal rights or the rules we actually have to follow. Maybe I'm wrong. It's been a while since I was in school, but I doubt it.
An attorney. You can hire any attorney of your choice, but if you cannot afford an attorney, you can apply and see if you qualify for a court-appointed attorney. You don't have to have an attorney, though. You can waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself. So that's an order of business we need to take care of today, is whether you want an attorney or not. And then another is to make sure that you understand what the charges are and the possible penalties. Do you have any questions for me about that?
Yeah, I don't understand the nature and cause of the charges. I have not had my accuser face me to bring the charges against me, as is a violation of due process. And I want to correct, for the record of the court, the named defendant is different than the named person, being myself. Hold on, let me make sure I get that in view of the camera. The named person here is different than the one named in the charges and the counts, being a difference of representation of who exactly it is the charges are against. And it is to my belief and knowledge that per KAR 8243 subsection A, exemption from the motor carrier safety regulations, A, the occasional transportation of personal property by private motor carriers that is not for compensation and is not in the furtherance of a commercial enterprise. I am exempt from these rules and regulations, and if I need to get a USDOT number to show that I was not operating a commercial motor vehicle or as a common carrier for business or for profit or in the furtherance of a commercial enterprise, I will be more than happy to produce that USDOT number to show that I am in fact a private motor carrier, not operating in commerce, not driving, as I'm merely transporting and traveling.
Mr. Dubois, you are not charged under the Uniform Commercial Carriers Code as adopted by the state of Kansas. You are charged just as a motorist operating a motor vehicle. Again, not a commercial vehicle. These are not laws that are subject to the commercial code or to the administrative regulation that you referred.
Although you mentioned the word operating, operating is a term used for the furtherance of a commercial enterprise, or driving, operating, the physical use or furtherance of for-profit business or for compensation.
It may under the commercial code, but not under the code otherwise.
It is under Kansas, correct?
It is not under Chapter 8 of the Kansas statutes or Chapter 40, which are filed under. But we can address that at a later date at a trial or a motions hearing if necessary. But I do not see the statutory language that you're addressing being applicable to these statutes, at least preliminarily at this hearing.
It is within, sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
That's my ruling there. And then on the name issue, I am not tracking you there. The only difference I see is that at the top of the document, state of Kansas and your name are capitalized, and in the individual charges, it's traditional capital letter of the first name, all lowercase of the remaining names. throughout. So I'm not following that argument. Again, if you want to readdress that at a later date, we can, but I'm just not seeing that argument.
Okay.
Now
Well,
then,
It's absolutely hilarious watching this sovereign citizen read from his little cheat sheet like he's cracked the code to beating the system. I just don't understand their logic. What's the end game here? They buy a car, but somehow decide they don't need a license. Then, when they get caught, they walk into court claiming the court has no jurisdiction, while literally standing in it. On top of that, they start spouting made-up laws like they've unlocked some secret legal loophole. At this point, it feels less like a belief and more like a mental disconnect. No matter how deep the brainwashing goes, I can't wrap my head around how someone takes it this far. It makes zero sense. There's no possible way to win, so why even try? Honestly, it'd be way easier to just sell the car and take an Uber or public transport instead of going through all these ridiculous legal gymnastics.
motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction.
sir, I do not have any such motion or brief in support. Mr. Regier, have you received any such documents?
Not to my knowledge, Your Honor, and so I fail to see, at least at this juncture, how such a motion is properly brought before the court, unless the court is aware of something that I am not aware of.
Well, that's what I'm trying to decide, if it's properly before the court. Mr. Dubois, who did you file the motion and brief with?
Well, seeing as your guys' e-file is down for what is it? It's called a ransom malware or something. I cannot e-file.
Right,
so
but you can mail it or you can walk it into the clerk of the court. Have you done that?
Yes, I've mailed it by email, which a
and I'm
court
sorry,
clerk
when I
said could.
Okay, go ahead, please. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. It was by email, which the court clerk said I could, considering the e-file was down. And I can't really go 20-something miles to do that, considering my personal property was stolen.
When did you email it, sir? When did you email it?
A while ago.
Judge,
Yeah.
Yes.
we do not accept emailed filings, only faxed or by mail or person.
Okay,
Oh,
I was told that they do not have fax, so I could not do that. So email would be okay.
He may have called the wrong courthouse then.
They spent 10 minutes finding my case because your guys' system was down. So I'm fairly certain it was the correct one.
Okay. Do you recall which you filed or which court you called?
Let me go to my sent. T. Stafford at bucokansas.com.
I think that might be at the county courthouse, not the district courthouse.
Okay. So if you want to file something, sir, let's make sure you file it in a fashion that will get it officially recognized. So Ashley, how do you suggest he file motions and the like?
He will either need to mail us a copy of it or he can fax file.
And is your guys' fax active?
Yes.
I love how the court clerk is giving this guy some serious attitude. You can just tell he's probably regretting not having a lawyer right about now. But honestly, I feel like this might have been his plan all along. There's no way he just accidentally forgot to send his motions. It's obvious he has no clue how to properly file a motion. And if you're filing anything in court, you have to follow strict rules. Everyone knows that, but something tells me he's just trying to stall his case. Then again, even if he messed up, you think he'd at least send it to the right email address, even though they don't even accept filings through email. It's honestly a shady move, but I can't say I'm surprised coming from a sovereign citizen. What do you guys think so far?
316-321-9486.
Okay. And my honor, I have one last question. For the nature and cause of these charges, Is it a criminal or is it a civil matter?
This is a criminal matter.
Okay. As it is a criminal matter, there are two jurisdictions which I may be tried. One is the common law, and the other is a military tribunal. Which of those two do you intend to try me in?
I intend to try you in this one, sir.
Which is this one? Please elaborate.
The criminal one.
Well, criminal has two jurisdictions. It is either the common law or it is the military tribunal.
Well, sir, we're not going to go into that at this point.
Are you refusing to acknowledge to me and tell me the nature and cause of the charges?
I have told you the nature and the cause of the charges.
You are not elaborating.
I think the remaining issue, sir, is whether you're going to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, or represent yourself.
My Honor, I need to know whether or not this is going to be in the common law or a military tribunal.
Well, I am going to ask you one more time. Are you going to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, or represent yourself, sir?
Again, I'm not representing myself. I am sui juris in proper persona or propria persona.
So you're not going to have an attorney, or are you?
No, I'm not going to be presented or represented by any British agent, registrant, or anybody else to be a ward of the state. I'm standing on my rights, and I do not abrogate them. And if you're going to continue to move this court without any sort of evidence, well, I guess I'll have to file that. But
We're going to set your hearing. How do you want to plead to the charges first? Then, if you don't want to have an attorney, how do you want to plead to no valid driver's license?
My Honor, are you attempting to administer the trust without permission and consent?
I'm asking you for your response. I'm giving you the chance to respond. Do you want to plead to this charge or not?
My Honor, I don't make any pleas as I am appearing in propria persona, and any plea would submit jurisdiction to the court. I am here challenging jurisdiction under the common law as I am owed the law of peace. And this is
The only fraud happening here is this guy. He's literally reading off some Facebook script, probably handed down by a random deadbeat sovereign citizen who thinks they're a legal expert. It's so obvious, and honestly, pretty ridiculous. These sovereign citizens have this weird obsession with trying to trap judges into saying whether a case falls under common law, military law, or whatever fantasy legal system they dreamed up. Newsflash, courts don't work like that. The judge isn't going to stop everything just to explain what type of law applies. The system is already built on a framework of statutes, case law, and regulations. They act like they can twist the legal system into something it's not. But the judge is just sitting there like, yeah, nice try. It's honestly like watching someone argue with a brick wall. What do you guys think? Does this guy have any chance of winning with these tactics? Let's dive back in.
under due process violations from Deputy Khalid Barake and the other officers or sheriffs that were on scene. And if you are attempting to administer the trust without consent of myself, the living man, the grantor, in common law, which is above Admiralty Maritime Law, then you will be in violation of Article 3, Section 2, the trial of all crimes, except in case of impeachment, shall be jury, and such trial shall be held in a state where said crime shall have been committed, but when they are not committed with any state, the trial shall be at such place or places as the Congress may by law have directed. And as there is a difference between the Republic State, Kansas, before the state of Kansas was brought into the Federation of the Union of States. And you will also be in violation of I'm getting it real quick. 18 U.S. Code sections 2381, treason. Whoever owing allegiance to the United States, the corporation, not United States of America or for America, levies war against them or adheres to the enemies, giving them aid and comfort within the United States or elsewhere, is guilty of treason and shall suffer death or shall be imprisoned not less than 5 years and fined under this title, but not less than $10,000, and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. Now, I, Anthony Edward Dubus, the proper case trade name, not the all caps legal entity of which you're attempting to administer the trust of, am an American state national, a Kansas state national per 8 USC 1101, subsection 21, and is recognized by the Kansas Human Rights Commission, as I have dealings with them going over my nationality in regards to a corporation in which I have a complaint filed against, has already been refused mediation by the company and is being investigated by Barbara Carper, the special investigator of Kansas Human Rights Commission, over my case specifically. And if you are attempting to move this case against myself, you are in violation of executing law rather than just judging on it. Which, if I need to pull up that statute
Sir,
or case as well.
Sir, do you still have the same phone number you had posted on your bond that you have with AAA Butler County Bail Bonds? Is that still your current phone number?
My Honor, Mrs.
316-252?
My Honor, Webster, it is, you may call me either Anthony Dubus or Anthony Edward Dubus. I do not accept the term sir.
Very
Although,
well.
yes, my phone number is still the same at 316-252-9724.
All right. And is your address, okay. Address's iPhone needs to be blocked. And Mr. Dubois, is your address still homeless